You are watching Cortex 0.
Hey you guys, Tom here for Cortex 0. Before I begin, just would like to give a big thank you to all my new subscribers. I know I don't really have that many yet, but I do believe I'm up to around 35, and every YouTube channel has to start somewhere. I'd like to start posting more videos more often. I was actually having some difficulty with some of the uploads that I tried to put on the channel over the past 3 or 4 days, and I do apologize for that, because with the election going on, many people were posting videos left and right, sometimes even on the hour. So I'm sorry about that, but for some reason my uploads were getting stuck at 95%. I read up on how to fix that, and it appears as though that should no longer be a problem. So the presidential election has finally reached a stunning conclusion. Stunning. Donald J. Trump is now the new president-elect of the United States of America. Many are calling this the biggest upset in the history of politics anywhere in the world. Now, you can go back into history and find various major upsets, but I'm pretty sure this is the biggest one in modern history, at least since Reagan. I think this may be even bigger, given all the circumstances surrounding Donald Trump, the election, Hillary Clinton, all of the leaked emails, just everything that has gone into this battle for the White House. This was shocking to many people. But my question today, on November 9th, 2016, is this: have we all been duped? Have we been duped? Is Donald Trump just one of them? Does he have all of the voters who backed him and supported him and put their faith in him fooled? That's something that we're going to be exploring in this video today. Now, of course, I hope that isn't the case. I really do. I didn't vote. I do believe that in one of my first 3 videos, I stated that I didn't support either candidate, and my feeling remains the same. I do not like Donald Trump. I do not like Hillary Clinton. And I have very legitimate good reasons for that. Now, I did agree with a lot of the things that Donald Trump said. Not everything. You know, I think anybody could agree with a candidate that says, bring our jobs back to the country, and, you know, we have to be careful with who we're bringing into the country. Do I agree with building a wall? Not necessarily. I don't know if that's really good for foreign relations. But I do believe that we should at least improve our ability to vet those who are immigrating to our country as a means of safety. And I think anyone can agree with that. I'm not talking about sending all of the Latinos back to their homelands and keeping all of the Muslims out until we get things figured out. I'm not in agreement with all of that, no. However, I do agree with being cautious as to who we bring into the country. We have sovereignty that we need to protect. This is our country first and foremost, and we need to be taking care of ourselves first and foremost. And that's not to say that we shouldn't help others. America has a long history of providing aid to other nations when they needed it desperately. Desperately. We were there. But we have people in this country that are desperate too. So I digress. Something that I stumbled upon over the past 24 hours while scouring the internet for information, as I always do, was a card from the now very famous Illuminati Card Game. which, from what I understand, is hard to come by now and sells for nearly $500 on eBay. This card game has a really, really weird way of seemingly predicting future events. And when I say seemingly, the reason I say that is because, again, this is speculation. I am not saying it is definite. Rarely will you hear me say anything is definite when I am speaking about what some people would call fringe topics, like the Illuminati and aliens and things like that. It is, however, very peculiar that this card game seems to be foreshadowing events before they happen, and in many cases, several years in advance. So there's a card, which the name itself is rather striking in my opinion. The name of the card is Enough is Enough. And we're going to take a look at that card right now. Now, call me crazy if you will, but doesn't this card bear a striking resemblance to Donald Trump? So many photos are floating around out there with this very same facial expression featured on Donald Trump. But that's not what really catches my attention the most. Two things about this card really grab me. One of them is more obvious. The other one you may feel is a little stupid, but maybe not. The first thing is the name. Enough is enough. What does that represent? The American people are fed up. They have had enough of the politicians who seem to fail to represent them and are just paid to lie their asses off. I think this is the perfect name for what Donald Trump's campaign has represented for many. Enough is enough. That's how a lot of people are feeling these days. Now, the other detail that I'm noticing, and again, if you feel it's stupid, that's fine. But to the right, look at the one eyebrow. I know that's, I understand if you're like, oh, it's an eyebrow. It's just an eyebrow. What's that have to do with anything? But it's really, bushy. And, the hairs of this eyebrow are, spiked up and hanging off. Do you know how many times Donald Trump has looked just like that? I mean, even the shape of the eyes has a striking resemblance to Donald Trump's facial appearance. But that eyebrow, you don't really see many people with eyebrows that are that bushy. I mean, it looks like the wing of an eagle. It really does. And that's what Donald Trump's eyebrows look like, I guess, if he doesn't comb them. I have seen many pieces of footage and many photos of Donald Trump with his eyebrows just straight sticking up like he's having a bad hair day, but right above his eyes. So, putting those two things together, taking a real hard look at the card, the name, and the appearance of the face on the card, that really does look like Donald Trump. It really does to me. And I don't really think it's out of the question that this card game was designed to foreshadow events. Truth is stranger than fiction. Anything is possible. Again, this is speculation. I am not saying it is a definite. Because if it was, I don't think people would be researching it as much. I don't think people would be as interested. Maybe they would. But when things are being researched and speculated on, and the truth of these ideas are in question, that's when they begin to grab the interest and attention of people. For instance, just as an example of cards in this game that many people are probably aware of if you're watching this video, look at how this card right here seems to foreshadow an attack on the Pentagon. Which, at the time that this card game came out, most people would probably say that there wasn't a chance in hell that the Pentagon could be attacked, that someone would be able to infiltrate the security surrounding that building. And how about this card? It looks like the Twin Towers, does it not? And I don't mean to jump around, but let's not forget about the money. The money in our pockets. How you can fold it and easily see what happened on September the 11th, 2001. I mean, it is there. And again, that's speculation. But it is really obvious. Like, that something isn't right about what you see when you fold the money. If you take a $20 bill and you fold it the right way, it looks like the Twin Towers are both on fire, on the money, with the smoke coming out of the buildings in the exact same spots as they did in real life. Is that not horrifying? And that's why I look at these things. I want to know, what is going on? When that money, and I don't mean to float around here, but when that money was printed, I mean, that was a long time ago. It's almost as if everything is planned decades in advance. And it makes you wonder, when is that going to change? When are things actually going to be left up to chance and power is actually returned to the people? I have a very bad feeling that even though Trump won and many people are happy that Hillary lost, like, yeah, I'm happy Hillary lost. But at what cost? At what cost? Did it even really matter? Because if they're playing for the same team, that's not going to change anything. If anything, it could make it worse. And, you know, I keep seeing people on YouTube in the comments and chat rooms for live streams talking about, and they keep repeating it, how Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton are 19th cousins. And, like, yeah, that's far off. Like, I mean, Stephen Colbert is probably like my 19th cousin. But there is evidence to suggest that almost all of the presidents, in some weird way, one way or another, are all related somehow. That's a head scratcher. Okay, so now I want you guys to take a look at this video clip. You can interpret it however you'd like, but I think this is at least a bit suspicious. At least. Bare minimum. Donald Trump wrote something in a book in 2000, a year before the horrendous acts that were carried out against our country on September 11th, 2001. And look at what he says. Just watch this video clip and look at what Donald Trump put in his book a year before those attacks.
BuzzFeed dug up an old quote from Donald Trump talking about a large-scale terror attack 19 months before 9/11. In his 2000 book, The America We Deserve, Trump wrote, "I really am convinced we're in danger of the sort of terrorist attacks that will make the bombing of the 1993 Trade Center look like little kids playing with firecrackers." Trump also mentioned the mastermind of the attack, writing, quote, "One day, we're told that a shadowy figure with no fixed address named Osama bin Laden is public enemy number one, and U.S. jet fighters lay waste to his camp in Afghanistan. He escapes back under some rock, and a few news cycles later, it's on to a new enemy and a new crisis." Trump.
Wait.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on a second. Is this really Trump before 9/11? Have you read this?
It's 2000 in his book.
Are we making this? Somebody, did you make
Nick.
this up, Mika?
Nick.
I did.
Did you make this up?
Yeah,
Nick,
exactly.
tell us it's over, right? Because
Will
you're
you
wrong
stop?
about everything.
Mika, stop. God.
I don't think it's over.
What's
I
that?
think
What's the
Trump and
rage here?
Carson-
Will you stop
No,
picking
it's
on
cute.
him?
I think it's cute.
Well,
go for it.
No, really quickly, though. I mean, so, Willie, that was
2000.
2000.
In a book he wrote in the year 2000. Yeah.
Well, it was published in 2000. He could have written it in 1999 for all we know.
Exactly. He might have
But
been
he-
a bit more precious.
So he basically predicted the attacks from Osama bin Laden.
All right, so given everything that I just spoke about, I think I've pretty much narrowed down what could be going on right now to two scenarios. Scenario one would be that Donald Trump meant everything that he said when he ran for president. He's not in on it. He's not actually a part of the New World Order. And that the elite are now going to shift their plans around him winning the presidency. Maybe we did score a victory. Maybe we did get around voter fraud, fraction magic, the Soros-owned voting machines, as I had spoken about in a previous video. Maybe we really did do that. Maybe we actually won something. Or maybe we didn't. Scenario 2. Donald Trump is just as much a part of what I and most people watching this video despise, and they have just simply created the illusion of choice. Look at that. The illusion of choice. Making the people feel as though they have power. I am beginning to really think that it's scenario 2, to be quite frank. Now, why do I think that? Because why would they suddenly allow us to have any sort of control when that's exactly what they're hungry for? 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It boils down to two things: money and power. That's what these people live for. And if you think I'm crazy for thinking that, I respect you. I really do. If you think I'm eccentric, I respect you. But please, 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 one of these days, take a minute and just look up a few things that maybe you're just like slightly unsure about in this world. Just, even if it's just like a little bit. And you may uncover some things that will make you feel very uncomfortable. Perhaps even sick to your stomach. Like me. From a very young age, I was aware of things going on in the world that a lot of people don't pay attention to. They're comfortable staying in their bubble, so to speak. And this bubble allows them to go about their daily life without really worrying about the things that I am now worrying about, and have been for a while, and that's okay. My own mother even said to me, because when I bring these things up, you know, she doesn't really want to hear all about it. And the biggest reason is that, like she said, Tommy, if it's not affecting me, then why should I worry about it? And you know, that's a perfectly valid response to a lot of the rhetoric that I speak. I understand that. I really do. And I love my mom. We have a great relationship. Everything works out between us in life. You know, along with my dad. But what if I'm right? Because I think I'm right at least about some of this. Am I wrong in certain areas? I have to be. No one's perfect. I never claimed to be. I never will claim to be. But this is why I search, and I search, and I search. Because I am a truth seeker. Instead of calling me a conspiracy theorist, call me a truth seeker, because I'm only trying to get to the truth. I'm not trying to validate the most extravagant of theories for my own liking. That's not what's going on here. If someone says, oh, there's a civilization living within the center of the earth, I'm not going to start looking into that just to validate it, just to prove to myself that that's actually going on and factual. No, I'm just going to look for what's true. That's really all I'm doing. If someone robs my house and takes something that meant a lot to me, a personal item that has sentimental value of some kind, I want to get to the bottom of that. I want to know who took it. I want to find out the truth. I'm not trying to prove all of the craziest theories to be factual. For instance, if some sort of bombshell evidence arises that 9/11 was exactly what we were told it was by those in power and in charge, if the 9/11 Commission report was somehow completely validated, that would sit just fine with me if they actually proved it. But they haven't. Too many loose ends. I mean, the 9/11 story is like a block of Swiss cheese. There's so many holes in it. It's hard to even believe just how suspicious that whole event was. And that's why I look for these things. That's why I beg people to just wake up for like 5 minutes and just think for a moment about everything going on around them. If you're satisfied with your life and you're comfortable, you're making enough money to support yourself and those you care about, I can understand why you probably wouldn't be worrying about any of this. That's very valid. Very valid. But how long are you gonna wait before it starts to affect you? Are you gonna wait until it's the 11th hour before you start asking yourself some really important, tough, uncomfortable, horrifying questions? Like, did our government have direct involvement with the planning and execution of the 9/11 attacks? Or is the government, not even just our government, but the governments of the world, are they hiding something about life on other planets? All of these things, we as people have a right to know about. And anyone involved with the suppression of this kind of information, you should be ashamed of yourself and embarrassed, because you're a disgrace to humanity. So getting back to the whole point of this video, sometimes I go off on a tangent, but that's just how I am. I am really beginning to think, believe, and feel that Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton are more than likely both 2 notches in the same belt. And I don't think that's very hard to believe. Interesting to note that back when Mitt Romney ran against President Barack Obama, there were many people out there who didn't vote for Romney because he was a businessman. He was wealthy. They didn't like the fact that he seemed to represent the upper 1%. But interestingly enough, many of those people voted for Donald Trump this time around. And Donald Trump, if you take Mitt Romney's qualities, those same qualities that were your reason for not voting for Mitt Romney, and you multiply those by like 1 million, maybe, well, probably more accurately, like billions, that's Donald Trump. I mean, he's a billionaire, real estate mogul, reality TV star, which Mitt Romney wasn't. You voted in the guy from The Apprentice. The guy with the hair. Yeah, Donald Trump. Think about how you felt about Donald Trump before he ever said anything about running for office. Well, more accurately, because he's been talking about that for years, actually. Just think about how you perceived Donald Trump as a person before this campaign. How did you feel about him? Did you like him? How much did you know about him? Did you agree with his philosophies and beliefs, his actions? I can probably take a guess and say that many of you would probably disagree with his practices in certain areas. And that's okay. People are entitled to change their minds. I can't argue against that. I have changed my mind about trillions of things in my life. But just stop for a minute and think very hard about what is now happening. Think. Is Donald Trump really your savior? Or is this just one big NWO Trojan horse that's barreling its way through the front doors of the White House? I hope I'm wrong. I hope we can, score a goal against the elite. I really do. You have no idea how much I just want things to be the way that they should. And I really mean that. Very seriously. I am so proud to have been born into this country. America was the apple of the world's eye. We represented something that almost no other country did. Probably when the United States first came into being, we were a grand experiment. And it worked out for the longest time. But there are certain aspects of our existence that need to be put under a microscope and examined. For instance, the United States of America has been at war 97% of the time since it was founded. Let me repeat that for you. Since the creation of this country, we have been at war 97% of the time. What does that say? What does that mean? Military-industrial complex? Well, that's part of it. War makes money for a lot of people. But it also says many other things. Like, maybe we're more of an empire than a country. Maybe we're a big bully in a lot of ways. We give a lot of countries help. But it's kind of weird when you go to war, you blow up a bunch of cities, and then you rebuild them. Isn't that just a little frightening? Just a little bit. And I can understand there have been many circumstances in which we had no choice but to defend ourselves. And that after things cleared up, we helped the enemy get back on its feet. There were agreements made. Look at Japan. We wiped out 2 of their cities in World War II with atomic bombs. Now look at us today. Probably one of our strongest allies. But there have been other times where it appeared as though we were just trying to push our beliefs and our system on other countries, which many people could define as being fascist. It sucks. But I am really concerned with the direction that we're moving in now. It's very surreal to see Donald Trump, someone like him, elected as the president of the United States. It's very surreal. And like I said, I'm struggling to figure out how I should feel about this. But I know where I'm leaning. I know which direction I'm leaning in. I think he's all a part of the show. All the world's a stage. And he may just be one actor, right along with the rest of them. Who knows how long this may have been planned? With that being said, I know a lot of you voted for Donald Trump with the best of intentions, and you had the right things in mind. Your reasoning was honest. And learning what I did about Hillary Clinton in recent years led me to tie her in with what I had already believed existed, this group of elites, the Illuminati, whatever you want to call it. I believe it's real. I believe it exists. A group who dominates and reigns over the rest of us, who only have their sick, twisted interests at heart. Throughout the course of this election, my main concern was the illusion of choice. That Trump was just another notch in the same belt, comprised of Hillary Clinton and the rest of the NWO. And that maybe, just maybe, they would select or elect Donald Trump just to carry out the next phase of their bidding. Given that the divide and conquer, or out of chaos agenda, was apparently still in place when the election ended, it hit me. This may just be what they wanted all along. And we as a populace may not have won anything. Right now, I think I have all of this narrowed down to 2 scenarios. There's a lot of other points I could throw into it, but this is like the real nitty-gritty of it. So scenario 1. Trump meant everything he said during his campaign, really does want to drain the swamp, and we avoided voter fraud and election rigging through the power of social media and an increase of awareness of such things. But the New World Order will now execute their Plan B in response to the aforementioned points, utilizing their paid operatives and those who have a disliking for the president-elect across the United States to incite an uprising and maybe even use the protests to declare a state of martial law, thus preventing Trump from either getting into the White House or even getting anything done to begin with, at all costs. There are many other things that I believe they have had a hand in, even lesser things. And the lengths to which they went just to accomplish those things leads me to believe that I can't put this one past them. So scenario 2. Everything I just stated. But Trump is in on it. Knows his role, but he has another hidden, unforeseen agenda in mind. In this scenario, Trump may very well make it through the inauguration. But then the ground will crumble beneath his feet, as the NWO may potentially use him and his presidency to plunge this nation into further chaos or even collapse the global economy. America is my home. And I'm very proud to have been born into this land of freedom and opportunity. But I feel that what it stands for is truly in jeopardy right now. All because of those who continue to pull the strings behind the scenes. If it's division that they were aiming for, they have it. They have it. And the more we feed into it, guys, the more we give them what they want. And potentiate the existing turmoil from coast to coast. Although I sincerely hope I'm wrong, and I really mean that, something just isn't right. I can feel it in a way that I never have before. And for some reason, I have another bad feeling. I have another bad feeling within myself. Deep within me. That something tremendous is coming. That maybe an assassination attempt. A staged event. Something disastrous. Just designed to disrupt our way of life. I've been feeling that way for a while now. Well over a year. And I have many close friends, and even family members, that share that same feeling with me. In the most sincere fashion possible, let me say this. I truly hope that I'm wrong about all of this, and that we are actually going to start moving in a better direction in our country and in the world. Thank you for watching, guys. This is Tom for Cortex Zero. Please like this video, share, subscribe, and stay tuned for more.
Thank you for watching. Please like and share this video, and subscribe for future content.